Let's try this again. What the heck? It's annoying. Okay, I think this is working now. All right, so it's Wednesday, December 14. This is my getting started in the morning, what's up Dave stream. And already today has started off with an annoying WordPress maintenance problem. And try not to put me in a bad mood, but what I ended up doing was just deleting a feature off the website. The subscribe to comments feature, because it's brought me nothing but pain and suffering over the years I've used it. I don't think anyone has actually ever used it before. I've seen some people subscribe to it, but nothing. If there's an issue, people can tell me. And they have so far been silent on it, except when it doesn't work. I guess that means some people are using it, but I just don't have the patience to deal with those issues right now. Commenting is so 2010 too. No one does it anymore. But anyway, today is supposed to be a coding day. Yesterday was a kind of a design work day. The day before that was, I think that was Groundhog Day resolutions. Today I need to do some coding work and also get some annoying errands out of the way. Need to go to the pharmacy, get some prescriptions filled out for my blood sugar something, and just want to have a productive day. If I can get maybe 3 or 4 hours of coding done, that would be good. If I can get more than that, that would be amazing. I generally find that these days my energy for that stuff runs out about after 4 hours. I need to take a break. I've never figured out a really good way of pushing myself more than that unless there's like a deadline. So maybe it's really all in my head. It's a mental challenge. But anyway, this is a 15-minute stream. Burned a minute so far. Let me just review what I did yesterday. Yesterday I did something that was different. A change in my pattern. I had stopped blogging in, I think, August. But the other day, what I did was I actually felt like blogging something to keep track of it. And I put that in my stream of consciousness category, which is where I put more of the raw blogging thoughts. And these don't show up in the regular feed. I don't think they do. But they don't show up in the regular blog listing if you go to here and choose read latest. It might actually show up in the visual browser, I'm not sure. But they're all filtered out. Because these are long and rambling posts, much like these video streams. It looks like they do show up on the visual browser. Maybe I should change that. But on this one, it doesn't show up. It does show up on the front page. But anyway, it has some thoughts on reducing resistance. One thing I did do was add like this warning to the beginning of those blog entries that this is a stream of consciousness blog entry written from a personal point of view. Try to think of a nice way of people not to say, don't judge me from one blog post and diagnose my entire life from this. That really annoys me. It's not a good, I think it's just short-sighted. But I can understand people wanting to help or relate a story. But these are not cries for help. And I'd share these just as a way of being more transparent with the process. Sometimes people will read these and say, okay, I was thinking the same kind of thing. And they will come up with their own take on it. So even though sometimes I get some annoying comments, it's very, very rare, and I shouldn't let it bother me. Anyway, I had started writing down what it was that was bothering me. And the idea I'm even talking about here about this video series, the What's Up Dave thing, which I'm trying to figure out, like, if I can do a daily talking stream as if I'm talking to people I know, people who are my friends. So I'm pretending I'm talking to one of my friends. Just kind of getting things off my chest. It's not always going to be like this, but I'm kind of in a phase right now where I'm trying to figure out why I have such a lack of energy or lack of enthusiasm, a kind of ennui, a boredom. Bored. Whereas there's no reason to be bored. This is the baffling part. I feel bored, nevertheless, there are many things to do, but for some reason they're not catching. They're not catching my attention. And I had written down a bunch of tricks here to get me by it, but there were some follow-up comments I put onto this. Yesterday, I took 2 naps. I was just extremely tired. And I thought it was maybe because of an internal resistance. It wasn't because I was really tired, but it was because something inside of me was resisting the idea of doing this work. And what did I say? Actually, you felt a little bit sick yesterday, but I'm not sure that was an actual feeling of sickness. You know, what's worth doing? I mean, yesterday I got out of bed after the first 25-minute nap by putting something into motion that otherwise never would have started. That was enough to get me out of bed. So anyway, what are my thoughts on this today? I thought I had written something more interesting here. Hence it being in the stream of consciousness category, because this isn't where all the gold is. There are nuggets maybe of potentialities that could go there. I did write though in I think one of the side forums. I had to check out this. I'm looking in the Discord video, virtual co-working chat room. And I'd written something. I can't figure out what it was. So since I'm not apparently in the mood to read stuff, let me reconsider. Let me try to resynthesize what my feelings are right now. I'm trying to solve the problem, or I'd like to solve the problem of not having energy. And part of this problem, I think, is because I think I should be able to do more. And I know should is a word that one shouldn't use. It creates this sort of self-judgment environment. People are fond of telling me not to use the should word. You know, I know where their hearts are, and they're right. But, you know, the next step after that, what is it that you need to do? So if you're not using the should word, what are you really trying to, what's the root cause of it? Using the should word is more of a symptomatic diagnosis, but it doesn't address the root cause. The root cause is that I'm feeling that there is something I should do, and that is either an anxiety of some kind, B, something that's being suppressed that is creating that anxiety, or 3, or C, it's something that might be some other kind of deep buried calling to do. You know, in my case, the reason why I say should all the time is like, well, one of the, this is weird to think of it as a self-limiting belief. One of the self-limiting beliefs is I can do anything. And I hate the word, I hate the feeling of not being able to do something. I hate it when people say you can't do something. I don't like it even when I tell myself that I can't do something. So yesterday, one of the insights I had was I haven't really accepted what my limits are, and maybe it's time to do that. And it sounds like such a self-defeatist thing to say in this optimistic American society that I live in. But, you know, there's maybe a realistic review of the limits. One of those limits may be I no longer can do, like, 8 hours of coding in a row, which makes me feel sad and weak and incompetent, but perhaps just that's the way it is. Like, another way of framing it is like, I'll never be 6 feet tall. unless they wear stilts. So see, I'm already trying to work around these things. Like I say, you can't be 6 feet tall. Oh, well, yes, I can. Like you get wear stilts. Which reminds me, one of my favorite movies growing up was Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan. I remember the line about two-dimensional thinking and just a general moving goalposts and like rewriting rules. That's the kind of life hack that I've always pursued. The ability to outflank a problem is something I've always valued. So if you can't hit it directly, I'll hit it from the side or hit it from a different angle or change the rules of engagement or make some kind of decision like that. However, that's no way to push through tasks that require a particular solution. For example, there's no way to outflank not knowing how to program. Sorry, there isn't. You've got to learn it. And the way you learn it is by going through all these hard problems and sucking at them for a long time until you break through them. And so that's, the hard problems. Let me write this down. Hard problems can't be outflanked if you want to solve them. But then you can question, like, why would learn to program in the first place? What are some of the options? What do you really want to get from programming? In my case, programming is a means to implement visions of software that I don't think anyone else can implement because they don't have my experiences and my set of desires. And so learning to do it myself, I think, is the direct line to it. The alternative approach, though, for people who don't have the capacity to program or the desire to learn how to program, is just to throw money at people who do. And you build a team, you build a company, you hire someone who you trust to read your vision, your project manager, and you do it that way. Since I don't have money like that, that's not an option for me. Well, why am I making things so hard? I guess that's a question. So anyway, I guess accepting limits, that is maybe the theme that I am dealing with currently. And maybe I should do a catalog of what I think those limits are and what I wish they weren't. That might be very instructive. But I'll do that after I'm done with this coding. In the meantime, if part of the assessment of limits is maybe to, instead of using an achievement-based model of productivity, which is what I think most people do, I got this done. Instead of using achievement, or instead of thinking of what I got done as an achievement, thinking of it as a measurement. So what did I get done, and how much of there was it without judgment? Measurement, metric. And this is a way of establishing a baseline of productivity. Maybe productivity is maybe to be happy with one's productivity is to be able to accept one's limits and what one can do. I'm not one to like limits or like anything telling me what to do. And so this is like some childish element of me that this has never quite gone away. So I don't know what I should do about that. I use that word again, should. So anyway, I think that's it for now. So I needed to go do some errands. Been starting to clean the kitchen up. One thing that I did yesterday that was new was I've been trying to adopt extroverted thinking as well. And by that I mean instead of trying to process the problem completely in my head before starting it, which is I am wont to do, I think a lot of extroverted people, and not being an extrovert, this is merely a guess on my part, they work by going into the actual world and moving things around until something happens. They talk things out until it makes sense. Personally, I find that irritating, but I think there's a place for it. And so things like cleaning a kitchen, it's been bothering me for a long time because it's been so unoptimally organized. And I have not had a clear idea of how to solve it. And in my head, I built it up to be this giant, methodical deconstruction of what a kitchen is, what spaces are needed for the tasks I need, and meals this big project in my mind. But for the first time, I just decided, again, when I was thinking about this extroverted thinking, let me just go in there and move stuff around and see what happens. I mean, this is an approach that I use for prototyping. You just try something and just see how it works. If you have absolutely no idea how something is going to work, you might as well try anything and see how it comes out. Presuming it's not like a life-critical thing. I mean, if you try to program something the wrong way, who's going to like really be inconvenienced by that? Unless you've been hired to be competent. But you need to make the times to try stuff. I think they call this in other circles the willingness to fail. I mean, you learn a lot from failure. And failure is not a stigma. Failure means you tried. Unless you hardly tried, then I might have some issues with it. But going in there just trying stuff, that's an important I'd say skill or character point. Character point? It's a character trait that I think is important to cultivate and nurture in oneself, daring to try stuff and failing. And I guess this is why I write about all the stuff that I do on my website and do these live streams, even though these are not very entertaining and maybe to some people horrifyingly embarrassing. Like I know some professionals would never show this side of themselves to people. But I believe in being honest about my abilities and how I approach the problems. I think there's a certain class of person who can appreciate someone who is trying to work out the problems without hiding behind this facade of competency, which gives them the benefit of the doubt. I would much rather have the doubt all out there and try to solve it out in the open. Anyway, that's my 15 minutes. I guess this got a little philosophical. Oh well, I'm still playing around with these live streams, these What's Up Dave things, just to figure out where they go. This one feels a little different because I'm just talking about things that are on my mind and trying to hold it together. If I had directed questions, maybe that would be better. But I don't know. It's all an experiment. So, thanks for watching, and I'll be doing some coding work later today. I may stream that. The problem with streaming the coding work, though, is that I can't play music at the same time because YouTube flags them as copyright violations. I guess I could listen to them on headphones, but I don't like wearing headphones when I'm working. Well, we'll see. We'll see how that works. Maybe I'll try it again anyway and see how that goes. So, have a good day. I'm going to head out to the pharmacy. One thing I need to solve is this issue of when I touch the table, it shakes the camera, which is probably really annoying. So, maybe I need to set up a place where I sit away from the table. And I could maybe use camera 2 to do that. Maybe I need to use camera 2. Camera 2 is this one. Face this. Oh, this is a wide-angle camera, and I'm now in backlit. Well, now I can't see myself. It sucks. So I'll have to figure this out at some point. Stabilizing this camera, which is on these monitor arms. I don't know if this is my setup currently. So I have this LX Ergo dual arm. This is a cheap $120 HD monitor, just so everything is nice and big, because my eyes are getting bad. PC is on this side, running those two monitors. Mac's on this side. Everything is controlled via this mouse and this keyboard using Synergy, which is allows you to control multiple computers at the same time. So it makes one giant desktop, basically. But anyways, this is on an arm. It moves up and down really easily if I just shake the desk. So anyway, 11:30, gonna do some errands. See you later.